Yomif Kejelcha lined up at the Buenos Aires half marathon, chasing a number only one other man alive had ever touched. 13.1 miles later, that number was gone. What he did on those streets left the running world speechless. And by the finish line, he had done something no other athlete in history can claim. The race took place at the Buenos Aires half marathon. Under cool conditions of 6 degrees Celsius, 2 pacemakers led Kejelcha through the early miles. His plan going in was simple: run under 58 minutes. That plan did not survive the first 5 kilometers. Kejelcha covered that opening stretch in 13 minutes and 45 seconds. That is a pace of about 2 minutes and 45 seconds per kilometer. Picture running one lap of a normal track in about 66 seconds. Now picture doing that same lap over and over for 13 miles straight. That is the pace Kejelcha was holding, and he was only getting started. By the 10-kilometer mark, his time read 27 minutes and 19 seconds. That alone is faster than most elite runners can hold for a standalone 10K race. Kejelcha was doing it in the middle of something much longer, and he still had half the race left. Then came the middle section, and this is where the run turned from fast into historic. From 10 kilometers to 15 kilometers, Kejelcha ran a split of 13 minutes and 22 seconds. That pace alone would stand as a world record for 15 kilometers on its own. His total time through 15K was 40 minutes and 41 seconds. That number is faster than the current world record for that exact distance, a record that belongs to Jacob Kiplimo himself. In the middle of a half marathon, Kejelcha ran a pace faster than the fastest 15 kilometers ever recorded by any human being. By 20 kilometers, his total time reached 54 minutes and 4 seconds. His second 10-kilometer split, from the 10K mark to the 20K mark, came out to 26 minutes and 45 seconds. That is barely off his own personal best for a standalone 10K race, and he ran it as the back half of a much longer event. Kejelcha broke away from the lead pack around the 7-kilometer mark. From that point forward, nobody in the race stayed close. By the finish, his lead over second place stretched past 2 minutes. The next closest finisher, fellow Ethiopian Tadese Worku, crossed the line in 59 minutes and 20 seconds. This was not really a race after the first few miles. It was one man running against the clock. Then came the final stretch. From 20 kilometers to the finish line, Kejelcha had just over 1 kilometer left. He covered that final distance in 2 minutes and 47 seconds. That works out to a pace of about 4 minutes and 6 seconds per mile for his last kilometer. After running over 12 miles at world record pace, he still had a full sprint left in his legs. His final time was 56 minutes and 51 seconds. That is 29 seconds faster than the previous fastest half marathon on record. 57 minutes and 20 seconds, set by Uganda's Jacob Kiplimo in Lisbon this past March. It is also 39 seconds faster than Kejelcha's own personal best. Once this run clears the official approval process, Kejelcha will hold the half marathon world record once again. For an event that usually gets decided by a handful of seconds between the top finishers, a 29-second gap over 13 miles is almost unheard of. It shows just how far ahead of the field Kejelcha was running that day. To understand how big this moment really is, you need to know what Kejelcha has already done this year. Back at the London Marathon, he ran his very first marathon ever. On his debut, with 0 marathon experience, he crossed the line in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 41 seconds. That made him only the second man in history to break 2 hours in an official marathon. Sebastian Sawe took the win that day in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. But Kejelcha, finishing right behind him on his very first attempt at the distance, remains one of the wildest debuts sports has ever seen. Now add this half-marathon record on top of that. Kejelcha becomes the only athlete in history to go under 2 hours in the marathon and under 57 minutes in the half marathon. Nobody else on the planet holds both of those marks. This record did not come out of nowhere. Kejelcha and Jacob Kiplimo have been trading the half marathon world record back and forth for over a year, and every trade has pushed the number lower. Kejelcha first grabbed the record in October 2024, running 57 minutes and 30 seconds in Valencia. Kiplimo answered by running 56 minutes and 42 seconds in Barcelona, which would have been even faster than what Kejelcha just ran in Buenos Aires. But that time was never made official. World Athletics ruled the race conditions broke their rules for a valid record. So Kejelcha's mark stayed the standard. Kiplimo tried again in Lisbon this past March, running 57 minutes and 20 seconds. That one was clean and legal, just waiting on final approval. That was the number Kejelcha walked into Buenos Aires needing to beat. This back and forth is one of the great rivalries in modern distance running. Two athletes trading the same record, each one forcing the other to run faster than anyone thought possible. More than 31,000 runners lined up for the event that day in Buenos Aires. But this race really came down to one man chasing one number. Kejelcha is already one of the greatest runners alive outside of this rivalry too. He holds the world record in the 10K, running 26 minutes and 31 seconds. He once held the world record for the indoor mile as well, running 3 minutes and 47 seconds back in 2019, a mark that stood for nearly 6 years before another runner finally broke it. He also carries 2 silver medals from the World Championships in the 10,000 meters, plus a personal best of 7 minutes and 23 seconds in the 3,000 meters. Most runners would call that resume a full career on its own. For Kejelcha, it was just the setup for this year. After the race in Buenos Aires, Kejelcha talked about his mindset. He said his plan was to run conservatively in the early stages, but he felt strong and he decided to give it everything he had. He called the result unbelievable, saying he could not even describe it with words. The shoes Kejelcha wore also deserve a mention. He raced in the Adidas Adios Pro, the same super shoe technology behind many of the fastest times in modern distance running. These shoes were already valuable among collectors and runners before this race. Expect that value to climb even higher now. It says something about where the sport stands right now, that shoe technology and human performance are both breaking records in the same year. What makes this story even bigger is what comes next. Kejelcha is confirmed to race the Valencia Marathon later this year on a course known for producing some of the fastest times anywhere in the sport. After running 2 hours flat on his marathon debut and now smashing the half-marathon world record, many people believe Kejelcha could be building towards something even larger there. A second sub-2-hour marathon. Maybe even a full marathon world record with his own name on it. The half-marathon picture still has one twist left. Kiplimo actually ran a faster time than 56:51 once before, back in Barcelona. But because that race broke record rules, it was never made official. So even though Kiplimo has technically run quicker in the past, Kejelcha's 56:51 becomes the new official benchmark once it clears approval. What separates Kejelcha from almost every other runner in history is range. Most athletes are built for one distance. A sprinter cannot suddenly become a marathoner. A miler rarely becomes a great 10K runner. Kejelcha has mastered nearly every distance from 1,500 meters all the way up to the full marathon, and coaches across the sport have started calling that range almost impossible to train for.